Half the buildings in this country need some sort of restoration.
You know, you want to maintain what you're building for future generations.
Across Wales there are 500,000 old buildings which require traditional materials and methods to look after them. These range from people's homes to national monuments such as castles and country houses. It's important to understand how all buildings work. They operate in a different way. The mechanics of the buildings are very different from a modern or a cavity wall building. This first diagram shows the traditional breathable solid wall. It has a breathable membrane both internally and externally, which allows moisture that inevitably lands on the front of the house through rain to enter the wall, but equally to leave the wall again, both inside and out. The second diagram shows the results of using modern impermeable materials. A cement render, however well applied, will eventually let water into the wall, and then it is almost impossible for that water to leave the wall. And the resulting structural damage of timbers in the wall is quite significant.
The problem we've got with this building is we've got serious damp issues on the inside, and it's caused by the modern cement pointing, which is not allowing the building to breathe. We'll rectify this by simply removing all the cement pointing down to the original lime build, doing any repairs necessary, and just repointing it with lime mortar.
When they built these houses years ago, they knew what they were doing about the breathability of the walls and how the timber's going to shrink and swell. They allow for all of that.
With lime, it acts as a blotting paper. When you plaster a house with lime, it's like sticking a lot of blotting paper on there. It draws all the moisture out. Whereas with cement, it'll trap it behind. You get the cracks, it'll get in there, and it's only going to go one way, and that's to the warmest part of the building, which is into the house.
Mae Cadw'n edrych ar ôl yr henebion hanesyddol sydd dros Gymru i gyd. Mae 129 o henebion, a rydyn ni'n edrych ar ôl y gwaith cynnal a chadw o ddydd i ddydd. Mae pob adeilad hanesyddol, neu adeilad hen di fferm, hen di capel, rhywle yn y wlad yn Gymru yn bwysig achos mae yna hanes yn glwm ar adeilad yna. Mae wir angen y pobl allan y fanna efo'r sgiliau traddodiadol i ddod i mewn i'n byd ni a cario ymlaen y traddodiad.
We're in Carew Castle. We put the roof and restored the fireplace at the castle over the last couple of years. It is important to preserve and have a skilled workforce that's capable of preserving these buildings and these monuments because they are very much what defines our culture, our Welshness, if you like. Architects and learned people use the word vernacular, and it means what was there, it's the original, it's what was common to the area. The skill set that's needed to ensure that these buildings are kept in a state that reflects their importance and their originality are basically the biblical skills, the carpentry, the leadworking, the stonemasons, the lime plasterers, the skill sets that have existed in construction for millennia.
I think it's vital that we train up students to continue doing these traditional skills. We have in the past, or in the recent past, lost a lot of these skills due to modern material and modern practices.
The Tywi Centre, based in Llandeilo in West Wales, is really trying to address some of these issues around looking after Wales's amazing built heritage. We provide information and training and ongoing support to all people wanting to work in and around the heritage construction industry.
Here I have is a sample of a ceiling of what they used to do years ago. Instead, before the plasterboard days, they used to lath and plaster ceiling using hardwood laths. These are hardwood laths. We usually use oak, but you can use beech. And then you put 3 layers of lime render on there.
Working on an old building demands skills in a range of specialist subjects, including carpentry, masonry, plastering and roofing, as well as understanding of appropriate materials. A common way to get qualified in heritage skills is to do an NVQ level 3, and at the Tywi Centre we've run these over the past 5 years, which have involved a level of training at the centre and then placements with heritage companies across Wales.
I'm Kelly and I'm on the Heritage Stone Masonry course NVQ3 at the Tywi Centre. I really like being on site. It feels very real to be working on projects, you know, outside on a house or a building and not being based in a college. And I really enjoy the process of masonry. The idea that you're making something work, so you're repairing buildings so that they function how they were intended to. Yeah, so I am pointing a wall with lime mortar, which is the kind of mortar that would have been used originally or traditionally. So there's also some earth mortar in here. And the mortar is breathable and flexible, so it means the building can function how it was intended to. So as you can see, we've got all the mortar out, so we raked that all out this week and last week, and now we're just in the process of putting lime mortar back into the wall.
My name's Adam, I'm 21 and I'm a plasterer, work for Just Lime Limited. When I left school at 16, I went to Amford College to do solid modern plastering for 3 years. After I finished the 3 years in college, I took a year out on site, and then I decided I was going to change because I was very interested in old buildings, so I applied for the heritage course. I like the heritage side of plastering because the buildings we work on, for starters, there's a 12th century church in the Gower, and we repointed the external and replastered one wall internally where they had a load of damp. Yeah, I'm definitely planning on carrying on what I'm doing in the heritage world.
I already had my NVQ level 2 and 3 in modern building and plastering, and it was after seeing the ad online and applying for the course, I started to read up a lot more about traditional building methods. I've always had a passion for old buildings and architecture anyway. I found sort of modern building techniques and practices generally revolve around time and how quickly something can be done. I kind of feel that it lacks a bit of soul. Everything is just geared up to do things cheaply and quickly. I wouldn't say there's an awful lot of difference between what I would call modern plastering and traditional plastering. The process, which you take a material from a mixer, put it on your hawk, put it on the wall, is exactly the same. The only difference with lime is that there's a lot more knowledge prior which you need to build up. It's very easy to get caught out trying to use a modern method with a heritage material.
Beth dwi bod yn neud yw sgreibio yr architectreif sy'n erbyn y wal. A ffordd chi sgreibio yw, wel, esbonio beth yw sgreibio. Sgreibio yw i dilyn profil y wal, cerrig, a trawsglwyddo'r profil ar y pision o pren gyda pensil, a wedyn torri mas gyda jigsaw. A'r ffordd i wneud yw rhedeg blocyn o pren erbyn y wal, cerrig gyda'r pensil, a jyst rhedeg e lawr erbyn gwyneb y pren, a chi tynnu pren i ffwrdd, a wedyn dyna'r profil o wal. I got onto the wood occupations course at the Tywi Centre back in 2013, and my placement was at Cardigan Castle. What I'd really wanted to work on since I got to the castle was the actual trellis work and balcony, because that's the focal point of the outside of the mansion, and I've been waiting for months for that, and I finally got onto it at just near the end of the course, which was fantastic. I really enjoy all the fiddly work, all the small detailed work, using the traditional skills with the appropriate materials for the building rather than just cramming it in with modern materials, which, you know, in the long term haven't been proven that's going to benefit the building, whereas the traditional materials, it's been proven that it does work, so why would you change it?
Dyma hen ffenest o'r tŷ rhan fwyaf fe'n alright. Mae'r joint fyna'n oce. Hwna di symud tyma bach. Falle bydd rhaid ni rhoi repair lan fan hyn. A ar gwylod y darn ma, achos mae hwnna di pydru, ti'n fel. Felly, torri hwnna off. Rho darn arall yno. A bydd yn para camlwyddyn arall, falle. Os mae pobl yn peintio fe digon. Cyn i fi dechrau gweithio yn conservation, oedd dim sgiliau, wel, bron dim sgiliau llaw da fi. Mae joinery modern, mae'n seiliedig ar peiriannau, really, a os allu di wneud y peiriant, dyle ti, achos mae'n gloiach, mae'n mwy reliable a stwff fel hyn, ond nid dyna, nid fel a, o'n nhw wedi cael ei creu yn y gorffennol. Oedd hen boss fi, o lle nes i'n apprenticeship, wedi ffona fi lan, a oedd wedi gweud bod e'n retairo, a os o'n i moyn bod cyfle i gael, allai cymeru drosto, sort of thing, lan fan hyn. Yn meddwl amdano'r dyfodol, dwi'n meddwl bydd yn gwaith galed, wrth gwrs, ond gyda'r sgiliau dwi wedi casglu trwy'r wneud y cwrs, mae fe'n lot haws i wneud awrywiaeth o weithoedd, allu gweithio ar safleoedd, allu gweithio mewn gweithdy, ar pethau hen, ar pethau newydd, mae'r posibiliadau lot mwy llydan nawr.
Here at the Tywi Centre, we can provide clear direction into training in heritage, carpentry, masonry, roofing and plastering. For people who are qualified with a heritage qualification, there are many opportunities within the construction sector. A number have set up their own businesses. You can work with small, general heritage builders or specialise in your particular craft skill and work with a larger company. Or, as a number of our past students have done, go and work with a mainstream construction company and be the specialist within that team.
My name's Paul Walters. I run a business called Just Lime Limited. I did the MVQ level 3 in heritage plastering 3 or 4 years ago now at the Tywi Centre. Well, I started the business, as most tradesmen do, I think, as a sole trader. And I came across my first few jobs purely by coincidence, and it grew quite quickly from there, to be honest. I've worked on a vast range of projects. We started off working predominantly on residential buildings like the one that we're in, but the last couple of years in particular we've had more and more kind of high-end projects, whether it's kind of churches and abbeys and larger kind of commercial jobs, and pretty much 90% of our work now is listed buildings across the country from kind of Hampshire to West Wales. There is a huge amount of work in heritage buildings. This one village that we're in now, Montgomery, every single building on this street is listed, none of which has any line currently on it or in it. By far the most enjoyable aspect of the work is the fact that I know, as it's a listed building, it's protected and my work is going to exist for the foreseeable future, for the next few hundred years. It doesn't matter if this owner sells this building in a couple of months' time, it's not going to get ripped out.
We're working on Dylan St Thomas's house today, which is a Grade 2 listed property here in Larne, and obviously a very historically valuable property.
It's mainly the lime plastering that's going on here.
The lime render before hasn't been done properly, so it's actually caused the windows to rot as well now because it's holding the moisture. We were both self-employed after completing the MVQ in our heritage skills, and we both worked together because obviously Dan's a carpenter and a plasterer, so we need both skills on each jobs. And then after a while we decided, why don't we team up and share the work out ourselves.
Combine the skills to make a good team.
Yeah. At the start, when we were starting a limited company, we had to get in touch with the business development manager in Carmarthenshire County Council, and he came out and had a meeting with us, didn't he? And he was very helpful and helped us register the company's house and what measures we needed to take to become limited.
We always go to jobs that should be lime and obviously have been rendered with modern cement and stuff. So we predict that the next 20-30 years in the UK there'll be a lot of going around taking the old cement off then and redoing it how it should be. The work we do is a lot more satisfying when it's done,
exactly.
isn't it?
You step back and then you know that's going to be there for a lot longer than what a modern house would be.
Our dad started the company off and we were apprentices to our dad. It's in the sort of latter part of 30, 40 years that we started concentrating on the heritage work because there's such a demand for it that we find that there isn't enough people going into it, or there weren't enough people being trained to go into it, so we stuck with that and we helped train quite a few apprentices.
We've been to northern France and southern France, Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland, been all around London, Manchester, Sussex, well, we've been in Wales. We have travelled quite intensely with our jobs. Yeah.
We put jets on that stabiliser. There's a couple of guys we were training, they said, well, you're never going to get work at this sort of work. And I said, well, in this particular field, there's two motorways. You're on the ordinary motorway now. As soon as you learn to plaster it, you take the side road, you take that and it's a different motorway, and you're on the super highway then. And this guy said, you were right. He said, never been so busy now. So as soon as people know they got the vacation bill, the skills, then they're grabbing their arms.
So the more students that come our way, the more we can train, and the future of it is bright.
My name's Billy Davis. I'm the General Manager of Tywi Sons, a heritage construction company from Pembrokeshire. We have 22 members of staff. They're all multi-skilled in heritage trades. The range of work we conduct as heritage builders is, as you can see, from a castle here to a miner's cottage up at Newgale. The students that have come through the bursary fund to Tywi Sons and have spent time working on projects with us have been exceptional. They know why they're in the trade they're in. We have offered nearly every single one of the lads that have come through the bursary fund a full-time job at Tywi Sons.
John Weaver Contractors was established in 1967. We're an award-winning building contractors and we employ 125 staff. We actually specialise in conservation and historical projects. So on site we do have our own joinery workshop which enables us to make like-for-like furniture, bespoke fittings, doors, you name it, they can do it to match. So benefits of being employed by John Weaver Contractors and our size company are quite many really. I mean, we look for the work for you. You're PAYE, so you're not hunting down your accountants yourself. You're paid by the company. You get the holiday pay, pension, sickness benefits, as well as other benefits that we do provide our full-time and permanent staff. We're a 15 million turnover company, and with that, we do a lot of investment in apprenticeships, in training and upskilling our workforce.
I'm Luke O'Hanlon. I work with Cadw as a conservation mason. Since leaving Tywi Centre, I've been grateful that it's put me in a position to be employed by Cadw. Currently working in Conwy on the town walls itself, down by the quayside on the spur wall. We're in Plasmawr in the heart of Conwy. We carried out some work in the courtyard, relaying the coping stones. The mortar had become fragile, so posed a risk to the public. We'd reset them. We've done a lot of lime washing around the property as well. Yeah, I feel really fortunate in my job because I got a passion for the traditional craft, stonemasonry, and there's a lot to learn from the buildings that we work on in terms of traditional materials and the designs and the architecture, which I find really interesting.
Whichever route you choose to take following your qualification in heritage skills, the Tywi Centre can provide support and guidance on how you progress in that career.